So adaptability is speed, velocity, and that leads to success. It all starts from the entrepreneur. They need to role model that and communicate openly. I'm Alex Hadjieleftheriou, CEO and co-founder of Blueground. At Blueground, we operate a network of beautifully designed, move-in ready apartments for stays of a month or longer. And our mission is to help people to explore the world and live in different places. People just love experiencing different cultures, new geographies, but renting an apartment has always been a challenge, and we make that process super simple. So when starting a business, when founding a startup, it's the reason that you build this company is to find a new product and do that better than others. So that means you have to adapt, first of all, to the client needs and develop a vision that that will always change as you go. So you cannot easily predict what's going to happen. So the velocity, the rate of change is really a great indicator of success, because you will try one thing in one way. You might be successful in some areas, but then you might find out that, okay, maybe the go-to-market strategy may need to change, and then you need to find another one. In our case, for example, one of the things that we found out early is that we needed quite a bit of capital to grow the business. So we had to find ways that we hadn't figured out before when we were originally thinking about the business of how to do that. So we tried so many different things, we adapted. And it's not just about adapting, but also adapting a lot and adapting at high speed. And that's something that doesn't come natural to most people. So how do you do that? It doesn't come naturally to me either. So most people want to continue the status quo because for different reasons. They know how things work, it's easier, but success for a company and a startup, especially in the early days, comes from adapting, from improving, from changing. And we figured that out quite early. And one of the principles that we have as a business is what we call change abruptly, adapt aggressively. And it sounds a little bit uncomfortable, and it is. It's difficult. But it's a great thing to always say to the team that this is our principle. So this is how we need to think. If maybe we had a big plan about launching one initiative, and after like 2 weeks, even though we made the plan, we realized that this is the wrong plan. We need to forget what we thought before and change abruptly. And sunk cost fallacy, the investment we put in just doesn't help to do that fast. But this is going to be key, because every day you learn more things, you get new information. So just kind of like being very open and transparent with your team and being able to adapt to this information, it's going to make all the difference for the future success of the business. So building a company with adaptability as one of the key cultural pillars is difficult in the beginning because people, as I mentioned before, prefer to follow the status quo and not change. But when they get on board, it's actually very exciting. It gives the organization a lot of energy. People know that things change all the time, so they come to work, or whether it's virtual or at the office, with excitement about what new will happen or how we can improve. So this really, even difficult in the beginning, ends up being very energizing for the organization. And of course, one important thing to say, change is not just for the sake of change. We always have a specific objective, a plan in mind, and sometimes, this thing just works and we don't change it. The important thing is when you realize that something doesn't work or it could be improved, then being really relentless about changing and forgetting any plans or any investments you've already made. Only the future matters. To create a culture of adaptability, there are a few things you can do. First of all, say so, right? As a principle that we have is change abruptly, adapt aggressively. So people need to know that that's how the organization operates and how you operate as a person. Of course, change implies that what you were doing before was not as effective as what you want to do now. So that in a way, it's a disguised form of failure or simple failure. So it's important for the entrepreneur, the founder, to not penalize that failure, but penalize the inactivity. So if people understood that something's not working and they didn't come to you to say so, That's what should be really explained to them, that this is not how we do things at the company, because that will allow people to continue doing things not in the best possible way. So change should be celebrated. Failure in that sense should be celebrated if it leads to something better, because even when you fail, you learn a lot of new things, and that is effectively what you need to build an organization that's able to fail fast, learn fast, adapt, and then you build a system that's much more effective, faster, and it takes time, but when it does, actually you will be much more effective and faster than any other competitor. So adaptability is speed, velocity, and that leads to success. It all starts from the entrepreneur. They need to role model that, sunshine their failures, and communicate openly.